Introduce her live in the studio with us right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the one and only bass extraordinaire, Rhonda Smith is in the building. Hello, Rhonda.
Bobby, how are you?
How you doing?
Amazing.
Oh my goodness, it's so great to see you. And I'm happy to see you because number one, I told you yesterday before we was gonna set this show up that Want You Back remix, I'm sold. Everybody, listen to me, everybody. Cop that remix single right now, Won't Come Back by Rhonda Smith, featuring Troy Noka, right?
Yes, Troy Noka. Killing it.
Please show it up. First of all, Rhonda, I am so happy that you took the time to do this interview with me again today. Because I know you're busy, because right now you currently on the road with Jeff Beck, am I correct?
Yeah, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to go next week actually to the UK.
Exactly.
And they've opened up now after COVID, so we're ready to kick some butt.
And how you feel about that? How you feel about that now that everything's opening back up?
I mean, I feel great about it, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm still gonna wear a mask.
Oh yeah, of course. I know that's what I'm doing too. Even when I get on the plane, Rhonda, it's like, okay, I go through, but when I sit down, I don't mind. I'm okay. As long as I get to
I'm going to do the same thing because I had some friends of mine that played in Finland last week, and apparently the rule came back up that you had to have a negative test to come back into the U.S., and they didn't know that, so they were turning down all kinds of people. So you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I am glad that first of all, you're looking great. And healthy and everything, and I'm so happy. Now, I don't like to be a troublemaker because, we're friends, and I like to stay friends with you. But, I was hoping, before we get out, because I love the bass. I love the way you play the bass. So I don't know if you equipped to serenade me with anything, but you did the last time.
I am not equipped today. I wish I knew, man.
That's all right, Rhonda.
Because I would have set up downstairs.
Let me tell you something. My feelings not hurt because my feelings is good because after watching that Want You Back remix, good, I'm feeling good. I really love it. But anyway, we are so glad that you out there still doing your thing. Now, for a lot of people who's tuned in right now, Travis is sitting on the chat page. He said, "Fire, he putting fire, a bunch of fire." Yeah, Rhonda's fire. She could play that bass. She could definitely play that bass. Now, I was saying this earlier. I'm not sure if you caught, but I was saying earlier that a lot of people learned about you through your own work because you put out several music of by yourself as Rhonda Smith, especially my favorite, that Grind. I am not letting that go. I love that joint. But a lot of people are familiar with you because you are, and I say are because it's still a legacy, a part of Prince and the New Power Generation package. Am I correct? Because I told everybody I was going to fight with you, but Prince had a female guitarist, female keyboard player during the Revolution days. But you're actually his first female bass player. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I knew I was right. I told you I was right.
You're always right.
Please, and though I did talk to you before, but this is something that I do want to know from you, because you more have an insight at playing and performing with Prince for so many years. I've heard many stories from friends who were a part of NPG, like my great friends for 30 years, Tony Mosley from the New Power Generation. But I want to know your experience. I'm hearing that Prince used to work his musicians like nothing. What was the experience with you once you got in that band?
No question. I mean, we compare it to the special forces as opposed to the Army or the Navy. Another level. I have never worked so hard since. I don't regret it. But people say, if you work for him, for Miles Davis, you can probably work for anybody. You talk about long rehearsals, which were great to understand and learn his entire vast catalog because he was an amazing songwriter.
Right.
But then when you go out and do shows, I mean, you're doing rehearsals, sound checks, and then you've got his NPG music club coming in, and you're doing a show for them before the show. Right. It might be an hour, question and answers. Then you're doing a show that's maybe 2 to 3 hours. Wow. And then after that, you're doing an after party. So we basically spent a lot of nights going to sleep when the sun was going.
Wow.
And just repeating the same thing the next day.
So you just talking about grueling days and nights.
Totally.
I understand he used to switch songs too, like in the middle of the set, and you just have to be ready for it.
All the time. Because he just went with what he was feeling, which is what a true artist would do, right? You're feeding off the crowd, and if you don't want to play something particular, you feel that they're feeling a particular way, you're going to go there. The only drag for me is, I think, just a slight drag. I had a big love for a lot of his vocal material, even the stuff that he was cussing with, but, I started with him in 1996, but towards the 2000s, he stopped playing any stuff that he was cussing with. And some of those songs were great.
Yeah, at what point did you ever go, what did I get myself into? Or was you just happy to be like a greatness?
You're always happy to experience the greatness. I wouldn't change a thing about it. It was a lot of crazy hours, a lot of crazy things, but when I look back at it now, I'm just very, very grateful.
Right.
Very grateful.
Okay. You got people in the chat room. Marley Kudo said Prince didn't play games. I guess that's a true factor, huh?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. He was on everything, every part, the way you couldn't even walk into the building and wear jeans.
Wow.
You had to be ready all the time.
Wow. Well, I mean, hey, like you said, you don't regret it. I always tell people if I work with someone, and I would always say, especially someone of that magnitude, that will be my college. I'm in college. I'm learning. I got to get my degree. I need to be in this place. You know
it's totally what it's about. And I think it's really sad, Bobby, because I think he was the last of the Mohicans, if I could say, of someone who, as an entertainer, who was a writer, a producer, a dancer, a singer, a choreographer, was involved in the music completely from every single note to the sound, to the lighting, to the appearance, to what people were wearing.
Right.
There's not a lot of artists like that. No disrespect, but there's not a lot of artists like that anymore.
No, you're absolutely right. I said a couple of days ago, I said, New York City, we're still a city where the energy is still in the air. And there were times where there would be after jam sessions in certain pubs or clubs, and we don't really get that much, One of those guys that would bring that through here. Sometimes when he come through New York City, you know what I'm saying? And we may have some, like there's some clubs down there, Groove, Cafe Y, where certain people will play, but we don't get it the way because musicians have to be ready to want to be up that late and play. You don't have musicians who's like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that we would love. But I know one thing. I can tell for sure, you working with him, you brought a lot of that to your own work. When you finally exit out of Prince camp, what was that like for you? Saying, okay, now I'm on my own. I gotta win. I gotta do this. I have to win. Putting your first project together.
Well, I was looking at break. But I think I was with him for 13 years as breaks between. So every time I did it, I started writing for my own stuff. But there's actually a lot of things with him. But number one is you just want the top stuff from everybody.
Right.
The most of the time, and you can't stand for people not giving 100% or coming in and not knowing your material. That's why I've always come back to say that people need to respect the music. It's one of the biggest lessons that I learned from him. But for that means, as a bass player, learning all of the bass parts, learning his style, that Minneapolis sound was a completely different and unique sound all to itself, primarily because he was playing the majority of the instruments. So
right.
His style was all in that. But for me, that's that. So I have a really small amount of patience, unfortunately, for people who don't do the work. Musicians come in and don't learn the parts, or they don't learn, what it takes to just do the work. That's a problem for me because he had zero patience for that. So obviously, when you're around somebody like that the majority of the time, it's going to rub off on you in a lot of different ways. So there were a lot of his standards that have rubbed off on me. I don't find people, but I don't go that deep. I don't tell you what to wear, when you want to come to a rehearsal. But I mean, he had some great, very, very high standards. And as I have said in the past, he was, I think, a perfectionist in a world where perfection doesn't always exist. So it's a little bit tough, right, to hold up to that. Okay. But yes, his standards definitely rub off on the writing, the things I've learned from him for doing backgrounds, things I've learned from him in the studio. A lot of those things, especially vocally, have rubbed off, even though no one is Prince. Prince was Prince as a vocalist, with his falsetto, with everything, with all the ranges of his voice. And the amazingness that how he put his arrangements together and produced even his background arrangements. But you can only learn from that, from being around him that long. Right.
You got people in the chat room. Toya Hill said, "Hello, Miss Rhonda Smith. Welcome on the show." Yes, we do welcome Rhonda. She is one of my favorites. I told her that I love that song, "The Grind." Unfortunately, I can't cry my way like a baby to get her to play it for me.
Next deal, Bobby. Next time I'm gonna play Grind for you. Okay, for sure. It's a deal.
I know one thing. I know, even though I know you get ready to lead a country with Jeff Beck. We're gonna talk about that real quick too. But I know whenever you do know that you coming in the New York area, you have to reach out to me. Let me know so I can come see you.
For sure. I love New York, and I'm so glad that you guys have opened up again too. This is amazing.
Yes. Yes, and let me ask this question, because since she's worked with the best, that means I have to ask her this question because she is the best. So I'm going to ask her. So Rhonda, I'm saying, and this is the truth. I'm not exaggerating this. I'm a drummer myself. I've been playing drums for 30 years. I've done some fair share work, the top names. No, why should I? I'm a drummer.
Tell it like it is. Tell it like it is. Huh? Tell it like it is, Bobby.
I mean, just so I've done some great work, Living Color, There Might Be Giants. I work with some. I'm whatever. What I want to ask her. So if I was playing drums with you, how would you work me? Would you work me to death? Would you bring that same ethnic Prince brought in with your band? Is that what you do with your band?
I do, but number one for me is pocket. That's got to be a communication with drums and bass, first of all. So I want to know that you're listening to me, and I'm listening to you. So it's like a brother-sisterhood. It's got to be. So that takes everything from me, because the foundation, just like anything else, is the most important thing to me in music. If the foundation's not strong, the structure won't stand, right? So we have to be able to build a really strong foundation for whoever is around, and like we do with Prince in numerous situations where some were just crazy, some was just back catalog, or some was like musicology or something like that, which is a completely different situation where he started to want to play a little bit more jazz, where he would have me, sometimes he would come over and say in my ear, I know you're sick of playing the same 4 notes over, but don't move. Keep playing the same thing. So, we want you to be the tetherball, on the stand. Or actually be the stand of the tetherball. So everything else is going crazy around your head. Everybody's hitting that tetherball, but we want you to stay exactly, simply and simplistic where you're at. So I mean, it calls for a whole bunch of different things. For me, I'll say the answer to that is it really depends on the music, Bobby, that we would play together. That would dictate where you and I would go. But first of all, we would have to be like this. Definitely.
Well, the bass player and the drummer are the lock anyway. They're the lock.
Totally.
Everything.
And like anything else, if the foundation isn't strong, the building won't stand. Right?
Exactly. So there it is. So she won't beat me up, y'all. See, there you go.
No, not at all. We're gonna do groove first, for sure.
No, but okay, hold on. We go back in the chat. Oh, yes, Amita said, "Hi, Rhonda. She's funky." Damn right, Rhonda's funky.
Hey, girl. Thank you.
She plays different. Sherman Pine says, "Would you have called Prince an educator in the music business, Rhonda?"
Absolutely. The musicology was a perfect example of that later, because he called himself that. But yes, absolutely.
But there you go. Oh, Juanita told me that was a good question to ask you about Do you beat up on your musicians?
Never. I love music. I love people.
But hey,
we're traveling doctors. We spread love and music and healing. We don't beat up.
Yeah, right. And plus, we're supposed to have fun with it.
Absolutely. You have to.
Because if you enjoy your instrument, and of course you want to play it the way, because you're performing, you're going out and you want to put on a great show, but you want to have fun while you're doing it.
Absolutely, you got it. If you don't do that, come on.
And that's what it's all about. I'm a musician. But all right, so listen, let's talk about this new single, this new remix, Won't Come Back. What made you go back in the lab? Because we got the original version. We've been playing the original version, but I think we're going to have trouble eliminating the original version and put the remix in rotation. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry I said that, Rhonda. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what we want to hear. Some rejuvenated love for it. Absolutely. Okay. And I worked with a great company in Germany called Daz Concepts, who was primarily in charge of putting that video together. And my friend Chile did an absolutely amazing video edit of that. But one of her suggestions early on, a couple months ago, was, hey, we should actually do a remix contest. But we didn't get that far, but we thought that a remix was a great idea. And involved with Uncle Jams, who was an amazing friend of mine, an amazing friend of Jeff Beck too, and just a great guy. He spread it out a little bit, and we happened to get in touch with an amazing artist and individual called Nutbush, believe it or not. That's his name, Nutbush. That's what he goes by, Nutbush in Atlanta. And he submitted an amazing start of a remix that was just like so enlightened that we were all like, oh, shoot. We got to do this. So we got to mix this, and we need to delve into this a little bit deeper. So that's what we did. And I loved it. And then the ideas came along later to have a great artist that I worked with several years ago, just before COVID, who does work with Linda Perry, Troy Noica, who is an amazing rapper in LA. And I wanted to get Troy on this because I worked on his project, and I absolutely love his work, his albums, and he's just a great writer. Okay. And he's got some really, really strong records, so people should check that out, definitely. So I asked him to guest on it.
I'm familiar. I'm in hip hop, so I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Troy's bad boy. Yeah.
I'm definitely waiting for. So note to Bobby, send Rhonda Stetsasonic stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I thought I was gonna get that already. I'm still waiting. Come on now.
She like Troy's work, so she's like, if she liked it, we might make something happen here. So note to Bobby, send Rhonda Stetsasonic.
We were supposed to be doing that already, so I'm still waiting, Bobby.
You know what, Rhonda? I'm gonna keep my promise. This is gonna be played forever, as long as it's on the iHeart page and the Flava Videos 2.0 page. When we finish with this, I'm gonna send you the stuff, and I don't care if it's next year or the end of the year. We're gonna get a Rhonda Smith.
And you gotta get me on it. I'm down.
And we're gonna do some original, because that's what we're about. We're about doing original stuff. We're gonna Rhonda's funky. So you know what, I've always said this, and please don't be mad at me. I don't want you to be mad at me. I've always said, we know Larry Graham is a mother, but Rhonda is a mother froggle. And that don't mean that Larry, because
Larry's the daddy. Larry's daddy,
But Rhonda,
Larry's the man.
Rhonda, I know you learned from him. You listened to the records. You had the chance to meet him, and I'm sure you watched him do something. But Rhonda, we just gotta say, it's been if I had a list of bass players, right? So I'm gonna give you my list. I'm gonna give Rhonda, and I'm not saying this because me and Rhonda's cool. I'm gonna give my list for real.
Because I'm gonna play on Stetsasonic. You're not just saying that.
No, to Bobby, send me the stuff.
Send me the stuff, man.
Of course, Larry Graham, my top. I don't care.
I don't care what anybody says. That's true.
My good friend, Verdine White.
Woo.
My second. I had to put him in there because Verdine is, we call them foots. So
Earth and Fire, come on. Yes. Classic bass lines.
And third, Louis Johnson.
Oh, man. Thunder Thumbs. Come on.
Is my mother. Y'all hear me? And so there's other bass players who's dope, like my man from the Ohio plays. I love him. He's he passed, didn't he? Yeah, he's what's his name? You know what I'm talking about? From the band Ohio players. I think he passed recently. I think, but the bass player, he was another funky one that was incredibly dope. And another friend of mine, Cool, but Cool is after you. So that's what I'm saying. So I got Larry, I got Verdine, I got Lewis, I got Rhonda, then I got y'all. Everybody else can come later.
Look at you. How many tunes do you need me to do for you?
There you go. I mean, and I'm
done deal, Bobby.
I'm saying that honestly because I was at the musicology tour here at Madison Square Garden, and I've actually watched all of y'all collectively, the way you work and the way you work together, and it's a great thing. And I just have to say this to everybody who's listening now before we get to your new remix single to Won't Come Back, is that I think everybody who's into hold on for a second. Travis in the chat room, he said, wow, she's interested. What do you mean she's interested? You better get up on Rhonda. You better get up on it. What I'm saying is that we need to get people who love music and into music back into musicianship again. Totally. We know technology can have you do things and you can find things, but there's nothing like breathing a guitar player, a bass player, a drummer, a keyboard. When we do our shows, we just did a concert recently. I'm speaking of my band, Sonic. We did a concert here, a summer stage last summer because they were opening things back up during the pandemic. And we brought a horn section with us.
Sweet.
You know what I'm saying? Because we want to incorporate that in what we do. You know what I'm saying? So we just think that it gives a breath of fresh air and difference. So music won't be stale today. That's why people get mad at me every time I bring up Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. I go because they're changing the air. And it doesn't seem like everybody else don't want to change the air. They want to ride the waves of, well, this is what they're doing today. And it's like, no, you don't have to do what everybody's doing.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And they're really a breath of fresh air. But it's sad if some of the younger people think that that's something new. You know, exactly. Because that's the only thing that I think is sad. I commend them for what they're doing. I think they're great. They're great singers, great production, absolutely. But, you know, they're paying homage to some really great musical times and some really great songwriters, no question.
Exactly.
You know? And with horns, you know, bringing horn sections back into the music.
But I thought of that when we did that is because you're speaking about a group who started in the 80s. So we're more of, we come from that era of Mandrill, BT Express, Brass Construction, Earth. You know, we come from that era. So we understand what they were doing. But we're a hip hop act where there's, you know, 3 MC rappers, a human mix machine beatbox guy, our DJ Prince Paul, me on drums. But we was like, how do we incorporate what New Birth in them was doing and what Ohio Plays was doing into what we're doing? You know what I'm saying? Because we were stripped down. We didn't have a bass player. So Prince Paul had to find a bass line on a record and scratch it and make it sound like, you know, we had to be creative. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, so, and that's what I'm saying. It's a breath of fresh air when I see other people. And even, I mean, honestly, even what you're doing with your new music, I would really recommend everybody, and Rhonda ain't paying me nothing. Whatever Rhonda wants from me, it's free. I'm telling y'all, go get that single, download it now, go listen to it. We're going to play it. It's called Won't Come Back, the original and the remix. And go cop her first projects too on the albums. It's great work. And I so love just what you do because you're still in the business of musicianship. And I don't have to say this to you. Don't stop, because I know you're not going to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Bobby. I try to put bass out there in a way. You know, that was, again, part of Won't Come Back. I wanted to hear more fretless bass in more of a contemporary music or a pop kind of R&B type of vein rather than in a jazz vibe. So I'm always trying to think of ways to use the bass commercially. And I will always say the same thing about my music. If people want to really get the real dealie out of it, listen on the headphones, because we mix and we master with the booty.
Yes.
Big time. You're not going to really appreciate or hear that booty in the low end. And you listen on some, you know, just on a computer. So you really want to check it out.
And how important is that to you And I know that we getting into the technical part of it, y'all. Don't listen to me and Rhonda. We're musicians, so we get it. But how important is it? No, because some people probably going, they talking technical terms now. How important is it sonically your record sounds when you finish it? You know?
It is so important to master, to get the right mixes, which again is with my boy who I've worked with for years, you know, Joey Papa J says, Somerville, who's an amazing mixer and an amazing low-end handler. He understands the low-end importance for what I do. It's kind of the difference with Prince, you know, when I learned from him, and amazing as a songwriter was, but he was not the type of artist who needed to have his bass up in your face when he was playing bass the majority of the time. He would like to bury it with the kick, but I'm not necessarily that type of artist. I like to have bass in your face, but not in the type of bass record where there's a solo on every song and it's all instrumental. And excuse my opinion, but after 3 songs, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something a little bit more commercially in there, but for me, it is very important to have that sonic low end, even if it's synth bass or whether it's bass, in your face. But I believe in some sonic booty, definitely.
Yes,
I think it's important.
And that's how I know Won't Come Back remix is hot.
It's up in there. Like, it might blow your speakers, but it's up in there.
I hit Rhonda up. I was like, yo, let's go get him. You know what I'm saying? I love it. And real quick, because we got to let Rhonda go because she got work to do, y'all. She's on tour right now. She actually getting ready to leave. She said with Jeff Beck. Quickly, if you can, tell us about your relationship with Jeff Beck and what is this tour you're about to do going to be like for you?
Oh, this tour is going to be amazing. He's got a new album coming out that I played on. I think it's coming out in June, I think. That's got some collaborations with Johnny Depp. Oh. So we will probably be doing stuff with Johnny, too. He's a great guy, great friend. We'll be starting in the UK, doing some shows at Royal Albert Hall in a couple of weeks. And we'll do some dates in the UK for a little while. And then we're going to start in Europe for about a month. So we're going to go right now until about the end of July. But he's an amazing player. He has an amazing band. And it's going to be great to see Europe opening up again. But still kind of cautious, with a mask, because I don't want to get any COVID anyway. But
exactly,
we're looking forward to the reopening. We've been waiting 2.5 years to do this, so we're really looking forward to it. And he is the most amazing. Jeff Beck is the most amazing guitar player. Some people don't know who he is. Some of the other people don't know who he is. But if they want to say like the top probably 5 guitar players in the world, and one of them would be Jimi Hendrix, who's not even here anymore. Jeff Beck is in the top 5. He is the most amazing, talented dude that I think that everybody should see at some point in their life.
Right.
He's just incredible. He doesn't sing, but he sings on his guitar. He is a phenomenon, and very privileged to have. It's my 12th year with him now. Very privileged to have worked with him and gone all around the world in some of the places that I wasn't able to see with Prince. But it's just been 2 different guitar players, apples and oranges, but I learned so much from both of them that I'm just so grateful for the experience and to keep doing it. So we're looking forward to it.
I know I'm about to start a fight right now with Rhonda.
Can't say who's better.
Oh, Rhonda, you do that to me, Rhonda.
Apples and oranges, both phenoms. Prince is just unto his own. They're like I always say about everybody. He was a producer, and it's hard for me to talk him past him still. He's a producer, a writer, a dancer, a singer.
She saw it coming, though. She saw it coming. I was getting ready to go for it.
Nobody can compare to that. Nobody can compete with that. So, he's all to his own.
Here's what I will ask you, though. And this is a question because you don't have to involve Prince in it. It's because what Rolling Stone magazine put up about #1 guitarists. Now, I'm just saying, like people who know musicians and my musician friends, we always saying why Jimi Hendrix is always put down at the. He should always be at the top at #1.
I agree.
Thank you. That's all I want.
I agree. Before his time and went too soon and absolutely changed everything. I remember Jeff Beck telling stories of when he saw Jimi Hendrix when Jimi Hendrix first came to London and play in front of all of those guys from Led Zeppelin to everybody. Everybody was like, oh my God, when they saw him in a club. We need to go throw our guitars in the trash can. We're done. He was so ahead of his time at that time. So there's no question, but his life was just, too short with whatever happened to, for his demise. We don't really know, but however bad that was, he left too soon, but he definitely left a mark on cats who are playing right now, who would still say, oh my God, this guy was, when we saw him, 50 years ago, he made me, I didn't even want to play anymore. He was that ahead of his time.
Right. See, you get it from the people who know the people who saw him.
Yeah.
See, we didn't see Jimmy, but
we didn't see Jimmy.
How can we still feel someone who was before our time and it's still in this time? She's telling us Jeff saw Jimmy like in London when he came out there, and it was like, and he still feel the same way about him. But I just always wanted to ask another musician that question, because the way Rolling Stone made their guitar list, and we're like, come on, does this even look right?
But those lists are always subjective, whether it's bass player or whatever. It depends on who does it. Their top 100, their top 10, their top 5. I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But
my list stays the same. My list is Larry, Verdine, Rhonda, and that's where it goes.
Send me them tracks, man. It's a done deal, Bobby.
I swear I got you, Rhonda. We are in business now. Tell you what, all right, y'all. Rhonda Smith, we so glad that you took the time to show us love.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
Let me tell you real quick before we get into our video. Let me tell you about Rhonda real quick. Last time I had Rhonda on the show, it was pretty much the beginning of the year.
I think it was before Christmas, maybe. Maybe it was December or November.
Right. I said, Rhonda, we're going to check up on, because what I do is I like checking up on people. What are we doing? It's not enough. We're gonna make it enough. We're going to stay. If it's good, we staying on it. So I hit Rhonda up, and Rhonda was like, what you want to do? Let's go. She said, but I got a remix. You want to wait for the remix or you want to go? I said, Rhonda, we waiting for the remix. And I'm glad.
Thank God you did, Bobby. Thank you.
I'm glad I did too. And she made sure we got it on time, because she was like, I hope it be ready. Man, Rhonda said, Bobby, it's ready. I said, okay, let's go. So I so appreciate you, your honesty, and how much you always return back when I reach out to you and put a call to you.
Always.
I so appreciate that. We're going to play Won't Come Back remix right now. So, Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us. Please,
thank you, Bobby.
Will you do the endeavors and introduce your latest remix to everybody?
Yes, this is Won't Come Back, the remix by Rhonda Smith, featuring Troy Norgard.
Y'all better get on it. We're going to play it right now, and I suggest everybody download it. Show Rhonda some love. Show her them numbers. When you come back from off your Jeff Beck tour, maybe sometime towards the end of the summer, like maybe August, September, we're going to reach back to you, Rhonda.
Sweet, and I'll have something new for you, probably with Jeff Beck on it. And everybody can check me out at rhondasmith.com, and that's on IG, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. It's all
there you go.
I'm sorry, at Rhonda Smith Bass, my bad. At Rhonda Smith Bass.
So, hit up there and keep us informed, too, what's going on with Jeff Beck.
Absolutely.
That one, too. We really want to know everything that's going on with you and the work that you're doing. And we so appreciate you and your art. We really do.
Love you, Bobby. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to start a fight. I'm going to start calling all the clubs here in New York, the Groove, Cafe Y.
Right?
We get Rhonda here.
I'm coming, man. I'm coming with my band.
People.
It's way overdue. I'm coming with my band. We're going to lace some stuff from all 2 of those albums from before and these new singles. We're going to lace it up for sure. And a little bit of Prince stuff in there too. Absolutely. See what I'm saying?
Let's show we got big mouths over here in New York City.
Can't wait. Love you, Bobby.
I love you so much, Rhonda. All right, y'all, here's a video Won't Come Back remix with Troy Norgard.
Thank
you, Rhonda. Love you, baby.
Thanks, Bobby. Bye, baby.